Alright, this is going to be a video showcasing how to do Siegfried 6. More meant for mid-tier players who are struggling to climb up. This isn't meant for in-game players who have like really strong hero rosters and setups. So, point of this video is just to showcase that Stage 6 Siegfried can be done at relatively low investment. So, I'm going to showcase some stuff here. So, we got Taily as the lead tank. She's set up with a bit of HP, bit of pdiff. We just want to make sure that she has fairly high pblock, well over 1,000. We want everyone that's in the front line, we want them blocking constantly because we want to make sure that the boss's mana never goes up. So we'll be running Taily. Also be running Klaus. I would have done this even before his buffs, but after his buffs, this makes him even better. So not too much pdiff, only 84,000, which would be considered relatively low. Like you need a lot of gear to pull that off. I did go pretty high on the pblock, but we're also running the perk for the extra pblock. So just mainly look for gear that has the respective pblock chance. You're farming like dragon and stuff like that, or if you're farming Dark Legion before moving over to TM raids. Now this is going to be a demonstration of 6, but this strategy will work for any stage below that. So because we are doubling up on some of the classes, so we are taking advantage of running 2 tanks. We're going to be running 2 priests as well. So I'm running Refi. Refi's decent here, but there are better options. You can definitely run Evan. May works pretty well if the fight goes long because she has plenty of time to buff everybody. We're mostly just looking for someone who's got AoE heals. Again, make sure they have plenty of pblock, pdiff, that way they can survive. But investment-wise, we're not looking at significant investment here. I did break up the set just to give him some extra crit, just to make sure that his heals are always critting. And we perked him with the extra mana to the DPS just to kind of help out with that. Make sure that the DPS has mana so he's always casting her skills. We are running Gao. If you're not aware, Siegfried does have built-in penetration. Even if you keep his mana low, he does have penetration still. So using pen reductions, you can do this from Gao, Juno, Taily with one of her UTs, but then you give up the P-block being lowered to 0. So I don't really recommend that source. Rebel Klaus, if you run him as a support, has a perk that also lowered, or was it a perk or a UT? I think it might have been yeah, it's his UT4. Yeah, here it is. So whenever enemies inflicted, reduce target's penetration by 200 for the duration of Curse of Galatia. And I don't think that goes up with investment. Yeah, it doesn't. So just a flat 200 pen down. So running that is another idea. Fortunately, like Rebel Klaus can't shred the boss because the boss is immune to shreds. So bringing him as a support just for that penetration, I mean, you can do it, but it's not necessarily required. If you do have a Rebel Klaus that does have some investment, though, you can run him as a second DPS fight. So that's why we got Gao in here. So it's mostly just gives attack speed to the whole party, gives extra pdiff, extra attack, even more attack speed, and he's got the pen down. With UT1 he also gives some attack down as well. So we are stacked on attack downs. We got 3 sources of attack down between Klaus, Taily, and Gao. We also have an attack down from Annette, so better. Switch these 2 perks that are... Anyways, 4-star whip does take some investment. This is just kind of some stuff that I have to work with. I don't have lower star versions. I did cut some corners other places. I just want to kind of showcase this. You're taking advantage of doubling up on classes. You can actually make these lower stages easier. You'll definitely have to make the full 7 class team to go to stage 7 and up, but this is a way to just get to the higher stages. That way you're not farming like 1 through 3. Ophelia, just a Manticore set. I do have like Galgoria sets, but I'm not going to use them. It is 5-star DPS, but honestly, that's kind of the standard now. If you are farming TM, you kind of do need to be using 5-star DPSs at this point. And Vespa has been a lot more generous with unique weapon rewards coming out. So I don't think a 5-star unique weapon's too out of the ordinary. Ophelia herself is not especially good for Siegfried, so if you have a better DPS for Siegfried in general, just a auto attacker or more single target damage focused DPS, you'll fare even better than this Ophelia is. Wizards have generally low PDIF. We are also running Circuit Burst, so we're going to take even more damage. So this is just to showcase that even with the additional damage increases, or just the lower defense and the additional damage increase, we can still keep Ophelia alive. So, just want to cover that. Damage-wise, this is 600,000 attack. This isn't especially high. Like, this isn't like anything out of the ordinary. Many players have well over 1 million attack when tackling this kind of content. I myself, like, with A2 DPS, like, you can be rocking, like, in Manticore gear, you can be well over 1.5 million attack, even higher. I've been up to 1.7 on Celine. So this isn't especially high attack. This is completely reasonable. I think this is not especially hard to build up to. So that's where we're going to be working with for the DPS. Now, because we can run double priest, we are going to bring laterals. This is going to greatly help with damage. This is where some of the corners are going to be cut. So I'm not using her unique weapon, so we're going to be losing out on some crit damage bonus. Also switch to a different UT, so that way I'm not using the higher star UT4. That's going to make her a little more vulnerable. She still has plenty of life though, so and just set up with just some pblock gear. Yeah, this is a TM piece, but it's just a chest by itself, so it's just some attack boost to the party. Making sure everybody except the DPS has pblock, because you make sure that that bar stays low. We are using a 5-star Abyssal Crown. You can get Abyssal Crown really easy. It is recommended to be your first artifact from World Boss and get it started up. If you run a macro that suicides World Boss, you can actually get a bunch of World Boss crystals and actually get this unlocked fairly quickly. Even as a new player, you can get a couple stars into it. So I think even with this, again, we're not working with the highest attack, so if you have some better setups, and again, if you can't tackle stage 6, don't worry, tackle stage 5. If you can't do stage 5, go ahead and tackle stage 4. But if you use this setup, I think stage 4 you can do with almost no investment, so just want to showcase like how simple this is. So this is the party setup. We're going to go ahead and go into the fight. Alright, we are going to go ahead and showcase this fight. You can see the boss is extremely unable to recover his mana. Because of the high block we have on our 3 frontliners, every time he swings his auto attack, he's losing mana. Almost guaranteed. Like, you'll see it dip up just a little bit from time to time, just from the attacks he's taken. But as soon as they're blocking, yeah, you can see that block rate on all 3 of them. They're just blocking constantly, and that's just depleting his mana. So we don't have to worry about him getting full mana and killing us. We have plenty of attack downs. Klaus and Taily have easily accessible attack down. Annette is applying attack down with her auto attack from Special Bullet, and Gao's applying a attack down once he lands his S1. So we are actually oversaturated. Attack downs do have diminished returns once you're over 50%. That should reduce his damage significantly. We are over 30 seconds in. You can see we got the crown buff now, so our damage is going to start to shoot up a bit. And Ophelia's doing some work with those S3s. Again, as I said earlier, Ophelia is not especially great for this fight. This boss is more tailored towards taking damage from normal attacks than from skills. So characters like Dark Lord Cassell, Requina, and and so on are generally better DPS for this fight. Ophelia does not especially high damage with her auto attack, and she's way more focused on spamming her Volechia for damage output. So, even with that though, we are doing pretty good on tempo. We're a little over a minute in, and we're about halfway through the second HP bar already. That constant stream of heals from Annette and Refi. Ophelia is hanging in there pretty strong. Not to worry too much about healing her. But the raw physical defense we're gaining from our 3 frontliners. Taily gives physical defense to the whole party. Klaus gives physical defense with his S3 active. And Gao gives P-diff from his S2. So we're just getting a ton of P-diff, and we are able to survive. Even with Ophelia, her generally low physical defense for being a wizard, wearing cloth armor, and her taking Circuit Burst, where she takes additional damage, she's able to not dip too low and is able to heal back up either from Annette and Refi's heals or from her own lifesteal. As you can see, she's her HPS is quite high. As long as she's hitting skills, she's basically healing herself. Got a little lucky there. Ophelia didn't get locked out. She does get locked out a lot because she does gain just a ton of mana, so she's almost always sitting at 6 when that happens. But it's fine. Big thing to worry about Ophelia, though, is she has a tendency to cast her S2 way too frequently, which means she's not damage. That's just a thing with her on auto. Kind of have to deal with it. But again, even with that, she's dealing some damage now. About down to the last minute, but we're getting close to finishing the fight. DPS, 370 million DPS, which is pretty good. But there's definitely players that, if you have better setups, you can definitely do a lot more DPS. I just want to showcase this on how to do this fight. And there's the clear. So this isn't the most optimal team, but just taking advantage running Klaus, Taily, and Gao will reduce the boss's damage significantly, and then you can run way more offensive backlines. Make sure everybody has pblock, and you're good to go. Oh, and we got it reclaimed. What a nice sight. So, this, you guys can get this too, if you do these fights. So, just wanted to showcase that. Make sure, team building is extremely important for these TM farms. You can definitely do the TM raids with lower investment. You don't need perfect teams. You don't need these perfect setups and have all these heroes with like high investment. If you run the right supports, you can actually get through. And I will be working on some strategies to showcase doing Galgoria and Ascalon with lower investments as well. So look forward to that. I will showcase those, and we'll go from there.